Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Well Read Book series. And today we have young Ayanso Boo with us, who will be reviewing the book To Kill a Mockingbird. It is written by an American author, Harper Lee. Before we go in detail about the book, we'll tell you something about the Ayanso. Ayanso, he is a 12th standard student. He's wants to pursue medical. He is having bio as his main subject. He is a Mann school student, and he enjoys learning in journal and love to gain new experiences. He's very open-minded kind of person. He also participated in 7th All India Silver Jubilee Master 26, representing the Mann school. His favorite hobbies and free time activity is reading and writing short stories. So he's an author also. Welcome, Anshu, to today's episode, and we welcome you.
Thank you.
So, this book, To Kill the Mockingbird, it was published in 1960.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, and it was, instant successful in US when it was published.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Anshu, why you have, if you can set the context of the book or give us a summary of the book.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. So, as you know that this book is a very old one. It was published in 1960, but the story in the book is from a time even before that. It's from the time when America was hit by the Great Depression, when the whole country suffered from financial problems, and there was a lot of poverty, we can say, and many people had suffered. And during that time, there were a lot of African Americans living in the US too. And this whole book is about the racial discrimination and the struggles of the Black people who lived in that era.
That's a wonderful way you have explained the way in the context it was written, the setup which of the storyline. But I like to ask you, Anshu, what kind
Yes,
of
ma'am.
book is it?
It's kind of a book that tells us not to judge anyone from our own perspective at first glance, but we should think and feel the way the other person who is feeling before judging them. The
That's
main
a
one of the
wonderful
main things.
thing, Anshu. But I like to know from you, for the audience, is it
Yes, ma'am.
a is it a true based on true story? Is it a historic kind of book or a fictional or sci-fi? What kind of book it is? In what category, genre it falls?
It's labeled as a fictional book, but the whole story is not entirely fictional because some of the incidents and some of the important things that happens in the books are taken from the real life experiences of the author Harper Lee. So we can't call it an entirely fictional book too.
Even for all the audience, it is also because it was written 1960 and still it is on in print. It is known as one of the classic kind of books which still
Yes, ma'am.
exist, which are still in print,
Yes, ma'am.
and it has become a classic of modern American literature. If anyone
Yes,
is
ma'am.
interested in American literature, so how thick is the book or how long is the book?
It's not very thick actually. It's somewhat of 200 to 30 to 250 pages, and the whole book can be completed under 3 days if you can read it.
Okay, so is it a easy or a challenging read?
Some parts in the book is very confusing because uh, we are we as Indians are not used to the way of speech as Americans, right? So the way the book was written, it's kind of hard to get what they're actually saying, but the story, if you follow it well and if you can picture everything well, you can create a whole set of a new type of movie in your head, which makes it very clear and understandable.
So, this book is written in a formal or informal style. Is it the language is very remarkable in any way?
No, the language is not very remarkable because the book itself is in first person first person perspective, and so that's the reason why the book is mostly written in an informal way and not in a formal one.
Okay, so you said it is a fictional, but it is you can correlate with the kind of era that was going on when this book was written.
Yes, ma'am.
So, who are the main characters? Include the protagonist and antagonist.
So the main character, the girl, is her name is Jean Louis Finch, but in the whole novel she is referred to as Scout Finch. So we will call her that for the entire session. So and the book is in her perspective. So she has a brother, Jem Finch, and a father, Atticus Finch, who is a lawyer. And her mother died at a very young age when she was just two. So she doesn't have any memories with her mother. And the main protagonist would be, yes, the girl herself, Scout Finch, and the antagonist will be a white person named Bob Ever. He is kind of an alcoholic who does no work and just relies upon the donations of the town and lives with seven of his kids and is disliked by everyone in the town.
Okay, so we have the main characters,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
what makes them interesting? Because you really enjoyed this book.
I think the most interesting character would be Atticus Finch, Scout's father, because he, during his young age, he was known to be a good shooter, and he was also called as one shot by the whole neighborhood because he was a very skilled marksman and he could kill any bird that was flying near him. But he soon gave up this hobby of his because he didn't want to kill anything anymore because he felt like he's taking away their lives and taking away their happiness. So after that, Atticus, he turned into a very wise man, and I think he's a really calm and based person who doesn't judge anyone and also teaches his kids the same things that I told you about, like never to judge anyone in first instance.
I think there are a lot of great learnings that you are mentioning about the book, that you don't have to be judgmental, you have to be empathetic.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
this entire story of
Yes,
this
ma'am.
book is novel or book, we call it, uh, or the characters act like real people act, or are they too good to be believable or too evil to be believable?
No, ma'am. There's no such thing as that. All the characters in this book are like they behave like real people, and even Scout Finch, Jem Finch, and their neighbor friend Dill, they all face the same problems a kid living in poverty would face, and they go through the same difficulties that any person without a mother would go, and they also enjoy playing a lot in their front yard, and most of the time they are always playing in the front yard during the whole book, and that's how this story starts actually. Jem and Scout, they are playing in the playground, and then Dill comes in the neighborhood, and then they meet him first. That's how they first met. So it's all
So,
real, nothing is fiction.
So, how do these characters connect to each other in the book?
They all they are very curious kids. Like they have a neighbor, like the Radley family, who are also they are not exactly disliked by the whole town, but they are kind of an outcast, like they keep their doors and blinds shut throughout the whole day, through the whole week, and no one seems to come out of the house except for Mr. Radley, who is a very old person who goes to the office and then he comes back and he does not talk to anyone. And they also have a son who is 36 years old. His name is Boo Radley, and he also has some parts in this story which are kind of important to this whole story. And all the kids in the neighborhood, Scout, Jem, and Dill, they are very curious to know about the Radley family. And all they want to do is find out how is Boo Radley, how does he look, does he eat cats, or does he even talk to people? So the whole story is about that, the kids playing around and trying to find out what Boo Radley does.
That's wonderful. The whole story is narrated from a kid's perspective. How
Yes, ma'am.
the narration and everything is based on, how the child is seeing it,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, I see that you really enjoyed and you are thorough with the book story, the story of the novel, the way you were speaking to me. So
Yes,
I like
ma'am.
to ask you, uh, do you relate to any of the character in the story?
Um, really, I can relate to Dil only a little because uh, he is kind of short for his age, and and he comes every summer to Macomb. Oh, the whole story is based in a town in Alabama named Macomb. So Dill he comes from another town near Macomb every summer, and he stays the whole summer with his aunt in Macomb, and that's when the kids go out to play. So yeah, I can relate to Dill a little.
That's good. So, what is the main problem did the main character is facing in the story?
Uh, the main character, as I told you, is the small girl Jem. Oh, sorry, Scout Finch. So she doesn't necessarily face all the problems in the book. Uh, the main person who faces all the problems is kind of her father and his client. His father is a lawyer, right? So his father is very poor, even though he is a lawyer, because all of his clients are very poor people. And as I told you, like Atticus likes to help everyone, regardless of what their background is. So Atticus just helps the poor people and the black people mostly because they were the inferior that time. So Atticus was defending a case of a black man named Tom Robinson, who was allegedly suspected to have sexually assaulted the daughter of Bob Evil, the main antagonist.
Okay, so the all the characters that you have mentioned me right now, that
Yes,
girl,
ma'am.
her father, and how he is protecting the rights of black people during that era. So,
Yes, ma'am.
who is your favorite character and why?
It will be Atticus, ma'am, because I really like him because even when I was reading the book, I used to admire him. I used to stop turning the pages and would think what great of a man he is because even when after the trial, when the trial was finished and eventually, even though they had no evidence against him, Tom Robinson was still sentenced to jail. But still, Bob Evil, he got and he got a little angry and he stopped Atticus at a post office and then he spat on his face and warned him that he will get him for that, for trialing a case against him. So when the kids got to know about this, the kids were very scared and they just told him that please be safe from now on and carry a gun because you know you have the skills to shoot a person, so why don't you shoot one? He says, I don't mind shooting anyone because I don't have any interest in that. Just because I got the scolding and I got the threat, maybe that is the reason why maybe he might have felt a little better and the kids at his house would have been avoided from a beating from his father. So you get me? Like he's taking it from Bob just so that Bob doesn't have to take out his anger on his children. So that is why Atticus is still cool with it, with the warning and all. So that's why I like him very much.
That's great. You have mentioned me about your favorite character in
Hmm.
detail, why it's your favorite character. But when we read some book or we see any movie, we learn from the character.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there are certain characters that impact us a lot. So
Yes,
we
ma'am.
learn from the character and from the things they are doing in the story, or they are saying something, and even from the other characters which are not main characters, but something they said, it's really impact, it creates the impact. And so do you wish like to include some example from this novel?
In real life instances,
Yes, any learning from any character, anything they said, or anything you like to quote here?
oh, so as the title reads, To Kill a Mockingbird, there is Atticus has a brother. His name is John Finch, and he's a doctor. So he doesn't live in Macomb, but he comes by every Christmas. So one Christmas Eve, when John came to Macomb and the kids went to receive him at the train station, they saw that John came with two cardboard boxes which were rectangle and very long in shape. So the kids wondered at first what could they be, but Uncle John didn't tell them what it was until Christmas morning. And when it was Christmas morning, he told them that Atticus had told John to bring them for the children for Christmas. So when they opened the presents, they were airsoft guns, you know. So, and they were powerful enough to kill birds. So when the kids got the presents, they were very happy. And just as I told you that Atticus was a very skilled marksman, the kids asked Atticus to teach them how to shoot. But Atticus said that he was rather very busy and he would ask Uncle John to teach them. But remember one thing that shoot all the blue jays you want, and blue jay is a kind of bird. So he says, shoot all the blue jays you want, but remember, it's sin to kill a mockingbird. He says this because a mockingbird has no other intention other than making us feel good by singing their song. They don't ruin any fields. They don't build their nests in other birds' houses, or they don't scare anyone. They just sing their hearts out for the people. So that is why it's considered a sin to kill a mockingbird, which can be correlated by saying that we should not harass or do anything to an innocent who has done nothing to us.
And that's a beautiful, beautiful learning for each and every one of us, and we should
Yes,
keep that learning in our mind throughout our life.
yes,
So
ma'am.
in the book, is the setting is the past, present, or future in the book?
It's in the past, man. It's based in around 1936, I guess.
Okay. um, so is the setting the of the storyline in the book is unclear or fuzzy, or it can be easily made into movie in your mind when you're reading the book?
uh, the story and the dialogues that the characters speak are kind of understandable because they're all kids. So it's kind of easy. But there are some times when during the book they mention about the ancestral history of the town, or how the jury works, or how the people of America had to go through a new phase after the Great Depression. So all of those things are written in a quite complicated way and can get fuzzy at times, but mostly it's not that fuzzy at all. And it's kind of not that hard to imagine into a movie.
So for all the audience, we are having a wonderful review with Ayanso Boo. And apart from that, you'll be happy to know that this story was also adapted into an academic award winning film in 1962 by a director, Robert Mulligan, with a screenplay by the Horton Foote. And this book has sold over 30 million copy, and it has been translated into 40 languages all around the world. And this is also has become a part of standard literature curriculum. That means in the school senior secondary, this book is a part of literature which is read by each and everyone. So moving forward, Anshu, I'll come back.
Yes,
I'll come to you again with why do you think the other readers would enjoy it, and why did you enjoy it?
I think because it's not a very different type of book, which, see, there are some books which are written for some specific kind of people. For example, if you like uh, to adapt a hobby, like if you are interested in music and the story revolves around how a person is no one and then he struggles and becomes a musician. A musician from heart would really love that story, and maybe other people who don't like music much won't enjoy that story much. But this story right here was made in a very common setting, and it's written and it's based upon everyday lives activities of everyone, you know, children's, for adults, and for the rich and the poor, and everything that happens in this book, I think every one of us can relate. And it, I also want to say that I would like to suggest this book to others because, as I said, like empathy and sympathy are really good things, and I think, and I really think that they are the most important things and the most important traits that we have to develop as humans. And that is why, yes, I would like to suggest this book to others.
Rightly said, Anshu. It this novel it gives a powerful lessons about the impact that poverty is creates in the person's life, the prejudice that people have, how it
Mm.
impacts, and the very important is empathy.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me. So do you think that the book engages your emotions also? It makes you laugh, cry, think.
It makes me think a lot, and it the book is very unfair in some part. You know, like some of the parts of the stories, it gets really unfair. Like we have to stop and think how sad it is for the person that might be facing this problem in real life. So I would say that it's a very engaging book, and it's really fun to read once you get the story and all.
So, do you think the book makes you feel complete? or it feels as though key elements are left out in the book when you're reading it?
Uh, no, I don't think there is anything left out. I think the book is perfectly balanced, and even the ending, it's not very incomplete. It feels decent, like it feels like it's an ending.
That's wonderful. So I'd like to ask you, if you were the author of the
Yes,
book,
ma'am.
would you have done something differently? Anything you wanted to change or add in this book?
No, ma'am. There's no way that I could have done it better than Harper Lee. Like, it's very well written, and I really enjoy. I really enjoyed. I don't know why, but this is my favorite book, and I don't think I can ever rewrite this in a better way.
And the last, like, to what age group you'd like to recommend this book, and what kind of readers it will more appeal to?
Uh, as the book focuses on the hardships and the struggles, so it's kind of raw, like some of the things and some of the parts are kind of a little too harsh for children, I would say. So I won't say that this book is for everyone. So I would like to rate it. Maybe the children above 13 can read this. Yes.
Okay, children above
Oh,
13 years.
yes, ma'am.
That's wonderful,
Ma'am,
and I think
I'll be I'll be right back, ma'am. Someone is at the door.
we are just concluding, Anshu.
Okay.
So, how would you rate this book?
I would rate it a 4.5. Yes,
Four
out
and
of
a
five.
half out of five. That's a wonderful book review with Anshu. And to all the audience, this book has, given a lot of awards. Pulitzer Prize winner award, and it was Yalsa award also. It has been awarded, this book. And when initially this book was published, the editor warned the writer that it will not sell well, you know and but it was opposite. The moment it was published, it was a sensational, and we know that it's a classic book, which is which is representing the American literature. So that was a wonderful review with Anshu Boo. And with that, Anshu, would like to thank you for coming forward and doing this book review. It's a
Thank you so
pleasure
much.
to have children and youngsters like you coming forward and uh, taking forward the love for reading books, where people are getting little disconnected with the books. It is our short, little efforts to make and connect the youth with the book reading habit, and
Yes,
helping them to fall in love with books again.
yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Anshu. This is a token of appreciation from our side.
Thank you
We'll
very much.
email to you. And everyone who's watching us, please do like and support Anshu also, because these kids, they came forward for the book review for the first time. If one of your one like and one comment will definitely motivate them to come forward and soar the skies with your little efforts and motivations. Thank you, Anshu. And for the
Thank
all
you.
the audience, on 28th February, we are celebrating National Science Day 2021, and you all can participate and register with us through essay writing competition, short video, short science experiment, fun with science, and be part of it, and be part of making a futuristic India with science and technology. And all the women, all the girls out there, on Women's Day also, we will be back with a short program, short event, and we please do stay connected with us. We will be posting you, updating you about all our events from time to time. Thank you for being with us. And thank you, Ayansu, again for being with us and for a wonderful, wonderful book review. Good day
Thank you
to
so much,
all.
Sunanda. Good day.